trying to keep it under wraps.
Alright.
Hold on.
Beanie goes there, you're gonna do your thing, whatever that is.
Do my thing.
I'm gonna sit here, keep talking just to annoy you, because it's one of my favorite things to do.
Excellent. Let me find my thing. Hold on. It's at the bottom. And
This is the
Go.
preparation.
there you go. The magic behind the scenes. All right, go for it.
I'm gonna just clap, little baby clap.
Okay, clap.
Hello everyone, welcome once again to Editing the Academy. This time it is the top 20, Laura's top 20, number 15.
My number 15 is the movie Goodfellas.
I know.
So it is based on the book Wise Guy by Nick Pileggi, and that is based on the real story of Henry Hill, who was a real mobster back in the day.
Before you do that,
Yes.
if I'm going to do the things.
Oh, you're going to do the things. Okay, I had the things prepped because
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure that you were doing the things.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, do the
you want-
things.
Okay.
Nope. He's going to do the things.
Okay. We are so organized today.
Exactly.
So, Goodfellas, 1990 film, directed by Martin Scorsese. It's officially how you're supposed to pronounce it, I guess.
He hasn't told me personally, so
Written by, he didn't call you up and be like,
I'm a
hey.
little sad.
Nicholas Pileggi and Scorsese, and produced by, I said it one way and then I instantly said it the other way. Good for me. Produced by Irwin Winkler. It's a film adaptation of Pileggi's 1985 nonfiction book Wise Guy. Stars Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, Lorraine Bracco, and Paul Sorvino. Tons of other people, but I'm not going to go down the list of like the 100 people in this movie.
Okay.
Nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Film Editing, and it won for Joe Pesci. Okay, now, sorry.
Oh, nope, that's good. All right, so this movie is a little bit different from the other movies on my list.
Yes.
Part of the reason is how I consume it. So Goodfellas is, most of the other movies, hey, I feel like watching Dirty Dancing tonight, or Princess Bride, or, you know, it's a Whit Stillman, you know, movie night, so I'm going to pull up Barcelona. This movie, I never feel like, oh boy, I want to go watch Goodfellas, but I never turn it off.
Okay.
Like, whenever it comes, you know, it's like, oh, it's going to be on TV tonight, or somebody else mentions Goodfellas, like, I'm in, let's watch it. I will watch it to the end, and I am not doing the double screens like I do with other movies.
So you're never like, oh, I'm in the mood to watch Goodfellas tonight. But if someone mentions they want to watch it, or if it's on television,
Always.
then you're in.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. I never turn it off.
Okay.
So, you know, so basically I think most folks know it's the true story of Henry Hill, who starts out as a kid who idolizes the mobsters in his neighborhood, quits school, starts doing small jobs for them, and then rises up to one of the mobsters in his ranks and
popped your
becomes
cherry.
a good fella. That's when he gets arrested, by the way. Just so clarification's sake.
Sorry.
That's all right. So
It's a very quotable movie.
it's totally quotable, and I do recognize that Scorsese is
Sure.
what we decided on, is one of the best directors ever, but also he's very hit and miss for me
You
personally.
mentioned that before, yeah.
Yeah, and this one just 100% works for me. And part of it is in a purely technical sense,
Mhm.
there is so much to talk about. So there's the framing of the movie,
Sure.
where it starts in the middle. And it starts with, you know, like these guys are going to bury a body and the body's not dead. And I think it's been described by other people as it shoots you out of the bullet out of the gun
Yeah.
as a start to the movie.
It's an incredibly brutal opening,
Yep.
but so incredibly effective for the movie itself. You're
Yes.
instantly in this world, and you're like, oh, I'm in for a ride, and
Yep.
you 100% are.
Exactly. And then it immediately goes back to Henry as a child and
Yep.
starts to work chronologically to that point and then moves forward. So, you know, I really just like the way that it's told. And also, as far as the pacing, it is an exhaustingly fast-paced movie.
It is. It's
It
super
is,
fast.
exactly. And it only gets faster.
Yeah.
So there are two scenes especially that lots of people talk about, and you can watch these scenes 100 times and get something new every time. The first one is the tracking shot through the Copacabana.
Yep.
So, you know, in one take, he leads his girlfriend, or his soon-to-be girlfriend, I think they are just on a date.
It's their second or third.
Yeah, through the back door of the Copacabana. He goes through the kitchen. He's slipping people money. Everybody loves him, glad hands him. He goes by the line, and they get him a table in the front. And all of this is happening, and there's movement, and there's things in the background, and there's not a wasted moment in this scene. So, I mean, like, it is a phenomenal scene.
Scorsese is another director like Spielberg where there are very few moments of just two people talking, close-ups on people's faces. Anytime you have a background, that background is busy.
Yes.
There's things happening in that background, and that is 100% intentional and effective. Because you're right, the more times you watch it, you can see, these little things that are in the background that are actually relevant. They're not just like, makeup and action.
People talking. They
were directed to do something specific.
Absolutely. So I love that. And then the others, and it's not even a scene, but it's a segment, is the day that Henry gets arrested.
Yeah.
So he is high on coke. It is a frenetic pace. He's paranoid. He's talking stream of consciousness. He is like telling about his day and how the food is being made and the number of, different kinds of meats that he has in the meatball, or that actually might be earlier, but he's like talking and getting more sweaty and disheveled, and everybody around him, and Karen needs to get high, and like all these things are happening.
He has the guns to deal with.
Exactly, and now all of those things are happening. I think it's hilarious how much he talks about the food during this. Like, they start to make the spaghetti sauce at 10:30 in the morning. Everyone's drinking wine, by the way, around the table, because they're high as kites, so why not? But like that whole section, the performances are fantastic, and also the styling and the makeup and what's happening at the kitchen table, what his brother is doing, and his kids. His kids are involved in what's happening. Like, the babysitter is showing them what to do with the cotton balls. Yeah. So, like, that's the first time I saw that was this time. Like, I had missed that along the way. So I just love those two examples. So I think that's terrific.
You're correct. It took me a while to pick up on how actively the family gets in. But one of the things, and it's part of the overall theme of this movie, is that, and he mentions it very early on, is they could do anything. And this movie is about the taking down of that ability to do anything.
Yes.
And for the majority of the movie, they are just operating under that premise. We can do anything. It doesn't matter what we do. We can kill somebody. We can sell coke. We can do all of these things, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't touch them.
Right. We can do anything. So getting the kids involved? Sure. Because why not? We can do anything. Do we shelter them from this life? No.
They're in it.
Yes.
So they got to figure it out. And then again, kind of like the stylizing, there are two scenes that I always think of in this movie, and one of them is the first time we see Ray Liotta as Henry as an adult, notwithstanding that first shot. So it just like goes up, the camera goes up his body from the snakeskin shoes to the shiny suit, and he's a beautiful man, first of all, and he is just gorgeous, and he is at the top of his game. You can tell this man owns this city.
Yeah.
He owns everything around him. It's the way he's standing, the way he's smoking. Just he owns himself and everything around him. And then you juxtapose that to the disheveled, sweaty, drug-addled mess that he is at the end. And the fact that that's even the same actor within a course of a couple of months playing, a couple of months of shooting, playing those two characters. Shocking. Yeah. So I love that.
Scorsese is a master at a lot of particular things. Mm-hmm. Establishing character visually is definitely a strength of his. He does it with almost every character in this movie. You get a visual shot of them before they speak. So you get an understanding. The surroundings that you see them in for the first time give you a depiction of who they are, or who they are in the moment. Then we get to watch them change. The first time you see Karen, she's pretty demure.
Yes, yep.
But not with her family. Like, she's arguing and yelling at her mother at times. But she is pretty demure the first time you see her, and then you watch her become something that is absolutely nuts.
But even the second time you see her, she takes him to task and he likes it.
Yes, 100%. Because that's the only time he noticed her. Every other time he's doing it as a favor. One of the other things, and people have talked about this all the time, and I'll just add my 2 cents. Scorsese is a master of song in cinema.
Yes.
And sometimes when you watch one of his films, you start to question the choice of why this song, and then you get it. I'll give you an example. The scene when they're in the diner and the mobster is recently released, and he's like, go get your shine box. That scene where Pesci's character leaves and comes back, and they can tell what's going to happen. So De Niro's character goes around and grabs him as you see Pesci kind of come in to give him a hit. The song starts, and it's by Donovan, and it's the song Way across the ocean.
I didn't even pick up on that.
It is
Interesting, yeah.
the song itself is so the opposite of the scene,
Yep.
but it works so incredibly well. And that's my point. Like somebody else would have done like a high intense kind of music in that moment.
Yeah.
He goes entirely the opposite way, and it's more effective because of it.
Well, I completely agree with that, and I would say also the use of the version of My Way at the
Yeah.
end of the movie. It's like My Way, the old Sinatra standard, and you think of old Italian mobsters and Sinatra and all that, but no, that is not the version that they use. So I do love that. Let's see. This is just one where I love the voiceover.
Yeah,
Which I'm not a huge voiceover person.
Admittedly.
Yeah.
And I like that it actually changes too. It's not consistently one. It's both him and Karen.
Exactly. I loved when it changed from, I wrote that, I loved when it changed from Leota to Lorraine Bracco. So I thought that was fantastic. I think Paul Sorvino was great. The one thing I did not love, and I loved the performance, but Joe Pesci was too old for the role.
Okay.
He was supposed to be the same age as Leota.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't make sense. They came up together as boys, and so he was supposed to be the same age, and he seems much older.
I didn't know that. I did
and
not
I
know
think that
was.
Scorsese just wanted to work with Pesci, and he was great in the role, but
He won an Oscar.
totally. But they should have, well, as we've seen, Oscars don't
Yeah,
really always mean
okay,
anything.
fair
In
point.
this, yes, but in this one, he did a great performance, but they should have explained that he, was the out-of-town cousin who came in and had to reestablish himself. The fact that he came up as boys and was so not his age, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
But yeah, and Robert De Niro, who is always fantastic, but again, I love his role, and I love the way he played it. And there was, again, just one scene where you're on Robert De Niro for many beats. And you're seeing him, it's the one where he's like at the bar and he's smoking and he's thinking and you're seeing all the thoughts and it's like, am I gonna have to whack the wig guy?
After the
I
heist,
think,
yeah.
Yep, I think I'm gonna have to whack the wig guy. And you can just see it all happening and it's just on De Niro's face and he's just smoking. And you're seeing it all happen. He doesn't have to say a word.
One of the other things, in this film in particular, Scorsese does it well in other films, like The Departed as well, but he handles violence beautifully because even though there are violent scenes, they're only to the point necessary.
Yep.
And sometimes, and it's weird that you can actually do this, later directors kind of pick up on it like Tarantino, but also using violence as comedy.
Oh yeah.
When they actually kill like the wig guy,
Yeah.
and the guy that's in the front seat is like confused by everything that's happening, and it's just so
It's
quick.
like, just go.
It's so quick and so casual that the scene itself becomes humorous, even though you just watched a person die. So the juxtaposition that he's able to do and the different levels of and intensity of violence is something he handles very, very well.
Yep.
It's not just violence for violence sake, it's violence for necessity, or sometimes for comedy.
Yeah, well, and when they killed the driver,
Yep.
and that was a brutal, bloody, horrible scene, but it wasn't gratuitous. And I've seen, like we've talked about it, Scorsese especially, like he does gratuitous violence sometimes. This was not it. There was a lot of blood, there was a lot of killing, but none of it was gratuitous. So I just have like two more quick points. One of which was, you know that I have a thing with soap operas. So I can relate most every actor back to a soap opera that they did in the 70s, 80s that I watched constantly. So Ray Liotta was Joey Perini on Another World. And I was watching Another World when I was far too young to be watching Another World. So my mom likes soaps, so my sister and I watch soaps, so I'm like 7, probably 8 years old, watching Another World. And I remember Joey Perini.
Really?
Because that actor like made such an impression of like, who's that guy? He knows what he's doing.
I did not know that. Cool.
Yes, so just that's kind of just the one thing. And then the other thing I will say about Goodfellas, and this is probably why I love it, is there are movies like Out of Africa where you can be kind of scrolling the phone, doing a little Christmas shopping, things are happening. You can't not watch this movie. This is a movie where you just cannot be doing a second screen. You have to pay attention. You have to see what's happening, and it's as visually interesting as any a movie on my list, probably.
It is 100% the definition of you're going on a ride.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it is a fast-moving ride, so buckle up.
And because it is so fast-paced, the scenes that are slow are much more impactful.
Yeah.
You think about the gun scene where he wakes up to Karen with the gun in
Oh,
his face.
yeah.
That is a very slow and very soft scene.
Yep.
But it's that much more impactful. I mean, first off, scary as hell, of course.
Yes.
But it's more impactful because everything else around in the
Yes.
film moves moving so quickly, and this is a very still moment.
Yes. And you asked when we were earlier for another podcast talking about Prizzi's Honor whether every mobster movie has to have a wedding, and
Yep.
the answer is yes.
Yeah.
It must, because they had to have a wedding.
They did.
So.
I did have one question for you, and I only actually asked it upon this watch, and I don't have an answer.
Okay.
And I've only seen Goodfellas probably 4 or 5 times.
Mhm.
So my question is, do you ever see Jimmy, Robert De Niro's character, with a woman?
Yeah, he has a wife.
Do
He
you
has a
ever
wife.
see her?
I thought she was in the background of the court scene, sitting next to Karen when they both get convicted and sentenced. So very rarely, but yes, you do see him with a woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he is unlike all of the other mobsters, gangsters, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
them, in this. They've all got the technical term for their side chick. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
They all have them. You
Yeah.
all see them with them. You see multiple characters with multiple females throughout
Yes.
the course. But I don't remember ever seeing Jimmy with a person,
I
with a
don't-
lady.
I don't remember seeing him with a side piece, but I absolutely remember seeing him with who I assume to be his wife.
Okay, but we never saw them, like, she was never brought to things.
No.
She was never around. They
No.
never really saw the two of them interacting. I don't remember him interacting with, outside of the principal female characters, any females in the movie.
So again, I saw the woman who was sitting next to Karen, and they were both behind what's his name, Henry and Jimmy, when they were getting sentenced, and that same woman was part of the like women's circle
Okay.
that Karen was a
Okay.
part of in one of those scenes. So I have to assume it's Jimmy's wife, but
Okay.
I think a non-issue. And also, again, from the scene where they told him to go back to his wife, clearly he had a wife, because y'all gotta have a wife and y'all gotta have kids, and that's the way this works. And so you can have your side pieces, but you gotta go back to your wife.
I just didn't know if it was like a conscious choice to do this and have him not, because he's Irish and he's not Italian. So I didn't know if that was a conscious choice because he's kind of an outsider. He can never be made. They acknowledge
Yeah.
that in the film. I didn't know if that was, I wouldn't put it past him
Yeah.
to have that be a conscious choice, but I just didn't know.
No, I don't think it was a conscious choice. I think that she was there, she just was not a big part of it.
Okay.
So,
Sweet.
with most of these movies that we trade, the obvious question is, hey, have you seen this before? I would have been shocked if you hadn't seen it before. But the next question is always, and what are your thoughts? Do you love it? as
I
much as
love
do?
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
I think it is, in my personal opinion, it is his second best film he's ever done.
First is,
The Departed.
okay,
That is just a masterclass.
yep.
And honestly, I could probably flip-flop. If I sat down and did a list of one versus the other, I could very easily flip-flop. Goodfellas deserves every accolade it ever gets.
Yep.
It deserves to be in the AFI. I'm assuming it probably is.
I didn't even look.
Okay.
I don't know.
It has to
I
be.
did not do my homework.
It
Mhm.
has to be. And if not, again, we're questioning the AFI's choices anyway, so
Yes.
that would be one.
Yep.
But yeah, no,
We'll
it
have
is
to look that up.
it is a masterclass film.
Yep.
And I wonder, and this I'll just end with this question for you. Some of the better films that we have watched end up being gangster films.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just because the subject matter allows for more exploration and drama than other subject matter does.
I think part of it is because we are already setting up a dramatic interaction.
Yeah,
like,
drama
being a
is
mobster,
inherent.
exactly, it's inherent. And so you're already setting that up, and you're already setting up that the family is a big part of
Yep.
being, in a gangster movie, is you've got the family and you've got the found family. And so I think that so many things are already set up that they can kind of go wild because we already understand the structure.
We'll come back to this, and hopefully you remember, or I'll remember. We'll come back to this when we get to a movie of mine that's
Yep.
way down the line, because it's
Yep.
another gangster film. But I just question if there's something about that. Anyway,
That's a good
I'm
question.
sorry.
So just last comment is I'm shocked that Ray Liotta was not a bigger star. I know he was a star, I know he was in a lot of movies, but he should have been headlining other things.
Yeah, I don't know why. I know he had a very solid career.
Yeah, he
but
was a
he
great
was not
character
a movie
actor.
star.
Yeah, he was a great character actor, he had a great career, but I would have loved to have seen him starring in more mainstream stuff.
There was a film that just came out a couple months ago, which was billed as his last film, even though there was
What was
like 2
that?
films before that were billed as his last film.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, yep, Goodfellas. If you haven't seen it, which, come on, you must have seen it. Go see it again. Bye-bye.